Taliban fighters overlooking land that would soon be theirs. The armed group tried to take Ghazni 3 years ago but failed. This time it had control in a matter of hours.
You can see our fighters with tanks in the city. We're doing an operation heading towards the police headquarters. There was a prison break and the prisoners were released. The Taliban are here and we're moving forward to capture more places. Keep watching us.
Ghazni Governor Dawood Laghmani is accused of doing a deal with the Taliban for safe passage to escape to Kabul. These Taliban yell, the governor has run away. Flaunting trucks and equipment claimed in recent conquests, the Taliban was seen escorting the governor through its new territories. Afghan police arrested him shortly after for surrendering without a fight. Ghazni is the 10th provincial capital to fall in 7 days. Prior to this week, the last time the Taliban had held a provincial capital was 5 years ago, and that was only for a matter of days. Its location is also significant as the gateway to the south. Of the provincial capitals that have fallen, Ghazni is the closest to Kabul, just 150 kilometres away. The Taliban now hold about 2/3 of the country, including much of northern Afghanistan, provinces in the west and rural areas in the south. All now leverage they're taking into negotiations with the Afghan government.
They've got what they wanted from the Doha process. They've got a US troop withdrawal, which means a NATO troop withdrawal. And I can't see why they would, at this stage, compromise. They think they can take Afghanistan by force, and that's what they're going to try and do over the next few months.
Here in the capital, concern is growing about the possibility of a Taliban takeover.
We worry a lot when we see the Taliban capturing the provinces. It's natural for us to worry about it.
We are asking the Taliban not to destroy cities. They should do a peace agreement. They should agree to a government. They can be in power and we can be in power together.
The government is bringing some special forces back to Kabul to bolster security. It means risking the loss of more provinces to the Taliban. So all eyes tonight on the second and third biggest cities of Afghanistan, Herat, if it is proven to be true that the Taliban do have full control of that city now. Also in Kandahar, and I should add, all flights are cancelled in and out of Kandahar. It's symbolic, I guess, of the amount of fighting in and around that city to see whether or not the government can hold off the Taliban in that city tonight. And then also in the province of Helmand, in Lashkar Gah, the provincial capital there, heavy fighting, the Taliban making more claims about gains in that city also. So the government looking at a three-pronged situation as they head into the evening.
Charlotte Bellis live for us in Kabul. Let's get reaction from the United States now. Defense officials reported to be increasingly concerned by the Taliban's advances. Shihab Atansi is live for us in Washington. So Shihab, the Biden administration has been sticking to this line that this withdrawal will happen as scheduled, but they've got to be worried about what they're seeing in Afghanistan, not just the Taliban advance, but the speed of it.
That's what seems to have taken everyone by surprise in Washington. And we've had these several intelligence estimates over the last few days as to when Kabul will be cut off from the rest of the country and potentially will fall. Those estimates ranging from weeks to months. That clearly is the main concern now. We understand deliberations are underway about whether to evacuate the U.S. embassy in Kabul. There are about 4,000 personnel in that embassy, of which about 1,500 are Americans. Another travel advisory was issued by the State Department asking all Americans to leave Afghanistan. Clearly what they're thinking is if there is a need to have a mass evacuation of U.S. citizens from Afghanistan, then at least it will just be the people from the embassy and no one else in Afghanistan in case various parts of the country are simply inaccessible. It's interesting, we were just looking at those talks in Doha. There's a New York Times report that among the items on the agenda for Zalmay Khalilzad, the U.S. envoy there, was trying to get the Taliban to make a commitment not to attack the U.S. embassy in Kabul should they take Kabul. So that's rather interesting. But in the meantime, Joe Biden He's been asked repeatedly now whether he's having second thoughts, and the answer is constantly no. He says this is time now for the Afghans to take the fight to the Taliban, to fight for themselves. He says that $1 trillion has been spent in Afghanistan. There are 300,000 US-trained Afghan military personnel now with state-of-the-art equipment. Of course, most of these figures are complete nonsense, as we now know, because of the leak of the Afghan papers to the Washington Post a couple of years ago, which basically said the US military, the US administration after US administration, Bush, Obama, have basically lied about progress in Afghanistan for years. But that's his line. And for now, at least, there is overwhelming popular support for a withdrawal from Afghanistan. But I think where the Biden administration is getting more and more worried is about the optics, about being seen to have mishandled the withdrawal. We keep on hearing comparisons, potential comparisons to the last chopper from the US embassy in Saigon in '75, which clearly had a huge impact on the US psyche, the US sense of exceptionalism, although here we are, another failed US war. And so this, that's what the Biden administration really wants to avoid. And there is a sense that even though Donald Trump and his supporters and the Republicans do support a US withdrawal, they're starting to sense that there might be scope here to criticize the way that Biden has handled this. Donald Trump, in the last few hours, issuing a statement saying, look, I negotiated the withdrawal, but I would have said it would have been conditions-based. This is all going terribly wrong.
Shihab Ratansi live for us there from Washington. Thanks, Shihab.